Thank you. I want to make a short statement before we start. Just a few minutes ago, the Labour caucus unanimously endorsed my leadership. I thank them for their support. I took the step of calling today's meeting because I wanted to end any speculation and doubt about my leadership. That has now happened. I enjoy the confidence of my caucus today and into the future. I welcome the changes that the Labour Party made at its last weekend to make us a more democratic and modern political force. I respect the decisions made and will work with the party president to make sure they are implemented. We are energised and in good heart. We are 100% committed to winning back government in 2014 so we can take New Zealand in a new direction. At the weekend, I laid out my vision for a hands-on government that is prepared to make big changes intended to improve people's lives. That included a program to put 100,000 families into their first home. This is an ambitious plan, but I'm determined to see it implemented. To do that, I need a caucus that is fully behind me. Sadly, David Cunliffe has not been able to show that loyalty. His actions at the weekend were disappointing, not only to me, but to many party members. His repeated failure to quell speculation about my leadership means I no longer have confidence in him. He has lost my trust. That's why I have decided to demote David Cunliffe from the front bench and to remove his portfolios from him. After the leadership contest last year, I appointed him to the front bench as a sign of my respect for him and desire for us to work together. I regret having to take this action against him today, but he has left me with no choice. He now needs to take time to reflect on his ability to be a team player. Today is about moving forward and putting division behind us. New Zealanders quite rightly expect us to focus on their ambitions and not our own. They want us to focus on the real issues like jobs, education and affordable housing. That's what my team will do. Thank you very much. I'm happy to take.
Do you expect to be able to win the February confidence vote as well, Mr. Shearer?
Yes.
What gives you that confidence, given that a number of MPs have told us today that they yet to make up their minds about the February vote?
Because I can count.
Maybe not count, but what about those MPs who have told us today that they'll go back to the party and set their views on whether or not to endorse you in February? What gives you that confidence that all your MPs are behind you, even putting today aside?
I'm telling you that I have the confidence of my caucus, and I will be the leader in February of 2015 as well. Of 2013.
Did Mr. Cunliffe give you any assurances about how he might vote in February?
We didn't canvass that in the caucus.
Did you sought no assurances from anybody about February's vote?
We have already spoken to many of the MPs about February's vote. That's as far as I want to take it. As I say, I have full confidence that that is not an issue.
Will you demote any of Mr. Cunliffe's supporters in the caucus over the coming weeks or months?
I have no plans to do that. I will be getting around to speak to all my colleagues to see how they can best use their talents in the way forward as we put together the team that will lead us into the 2014 elections.
What's the road back, Mr. Cunliffe? Is there a road back onto the front bench for him under your leadership or not?
Absolutely.
And how does that look like? What does it look like?
Well, what I'm saying is that he will be in his current position. We'll be speaking together, obviously, over time, and I miss his abilities as an economic spokesperson in his current role, but he will need to show the loyalty that I expect from my colleagues before he comes back.
Can you explain exactly what he did wrong at the weekend? What were his actions that were in some way wrong?
Well, there was a number of issues. It was I don't want to relitigate absolutely all the issues.
Well, a lot of people who feel he didn't do anything wrong. So can you explain what it was?
He has been undermining my leadership. He's been unable to endorse my leadership. He has sought to further his own ambitions, and all of that together is unacceptable.
Did he act alone, in your view?
I don't want to go there. there's other issues around that, and I would prefer to not
Did he
discuss.
give a caucus?
Sorry?
Did he give account of himself on the caucus today?
Yes, he did.
What did he say?
What did he say?
Oh, that's caucus. He stays in caucus.
Why have you decided not to demote anyone else?
Because I want to get around and talk to my colleagues. I want to sit down with them and see where they are going forward in the future.
Are there further demotions to come?
I have no plans at the moment, but that will be done in my own time if that was to come.
Who's got?
It seemed apparent at the weekend, though, that there was some MPs within your caucus that favoured a leadership change. How do you intend to address that? Because is that not, in fact, disloyalty towards you, their support for Mr. Cumming?
I'm going to be speaking to all of my colleagues over the coming days. But right now, I've made a decision about David Cunliffe. I don't have plans to go further than that, but I obviously want to be talking to other colleagues.
Who's going to replace him?
There's been a lot of talk that all of this was sort of underground on the quiet. So at the caucus meeting today, did you get that out from those other MPs as well, sort of pull out that sort of different opinion?
But I'm not going to talk about what we spoke about in caucus. That's what we spoke about there stays there.
Who's got economic development?
We'll make an announcement on that shortly.
But did the caucus members get an opportunity to get things off their chest and clear the air?
Oh, look, we had a robust discussion, absolutely. There was no doubt about that, and people spoke very, very frankly. But what they said is a matter for them, and we respect the privacy of the caucus
And
members.
did the strength of those opinions take you by surprise?
No, they didn't.
You've got the support of your caucus now. Do you think you have the support of the wider party?
Yes, I do.
What gives you that confidence? Because there are a number of people who, in that wider party, whatever activists, well, I was calling what you will, who clearly aren't necessarily supporting.
We had a conference last weekend where there was 1,000 party members at that conference. The feedback from that conference and the direction that we are taking as the Labour Party and the program of work that we're going to be moving on left many party members, we've been overwhelmed by the response from party members. I have no doubt about the support from the party.
Is there pressure on you though your speech on Sunday was seen as, I suppose, is there pressure on you to continue that performance in the coming weeks? Because there has been criticism from those who oppose you that your performance hasn't been good enough.
There's always pressure on me, Brett. Being the leader of the opposition is a pressure job, but I'm confident in my own abilities to move forward united and make a real difference to New Zealand.
So just getting handle of the support you got today, did you actually ask for a vote of confidence? Or?
Yeah, we took an endorsement vote.
Was anyone else? Did you ask for anyone else to put yourself forward?
No, it was a vote of it was an endorsement vote. Endorsement simply was an endorsement of my leadership, and it was unanimous.
One of the posters suggested today that the leadership claims were just a sort of media invention, which seems to suggest that she's quite at odds with you on what David Cunliffe has been doing. Have you discussed that with her?
No, we haven't. I mean, many of you were at the conference, so you saw what was going on.
So did she, so why did you think it was just a sort of media?
You'll have to ask her that. I haven't spoken to her about that.
Well, your opinion on it, has it been there's speculation of your leadership being generated by us or by David Cunliffe?
I think you see it as you call it as you see it. So I don't want to go any further than that.
You must have seen it the same way, though, take those actions, surely.
Well, as you say, you have done it that way, and I've decided to take the decision to demote David Cunliffe, and that's because I fail to have sufficient trust in him to continue.
When you announced the next,
before the meeting to tell them that you were demoting them?
Yes, I do.
when you announced the replacement in the economic development portfolio, do you intend to do a wider reshuffle, and if not, when do you plan to do that?
We will be making a temporary announcement in the next few days about that particular post. A wider change in our lineup will be made at a later date.
Before Christmas?
I won't go into that right at the moment.
There's some sort of like disgruntlement within some parts of the party about the old guard and the place that they occupy, and something that is grassroots or the old guard.
Young and beautiful, Tracy, you know that.
Has that been raised with you as an issue, the sort of the if you like, the prominence of, say, people like Annie King or Trevor Mallard or Phil Goff?
No, it hasn't. I mean, we've got a mix of old and new, and you need that. I mean, you need the experience and you need the newness and the energy of people coming in new. And I think we've got a very good balance.
Do you see this whole leadership issue as strengthening or damaging your leadership?
Look, ultimately, what I see it as is taking us forward, moving us from where we are now and moving us forward into the future, more united as a caucus and more united as a party.
But has it damaged your leadership, do you think?
But the only thing that I will say to that is that as a leader, this was necessary for this to happen and we needed to move forward. I want to get this behind us and I want to move on into the areas that, the issues that New Zealanders are most interested in.
Has David Cameron given you any assurances or discussed with you what he plans to do next? Does he accept the reasons for his demotion and does he accept that he needs to give some sort of public show of support for your leadership?
We haven't had a chance to talk about that one-on-one since the caucus meeting.
Do you expect that this will damage Labour's short-term prospects, I suppose, for reporting the next polls?
Well, I mean, what New Zealanders expect from us is that we are unified as a party and that we are unified in taking it to the government, putting our agenda forward. Unfortunately, that undermines their confidence in us. We need to rebuild their confidence, earn their confidence, and go out there and speak about the issues that concern them. And that's jobs, it's housing, it's about the economy.
In hindsight, do you see any of the events that happened during the vote on the leadership before on Saturday as being part of machinations against you? Particularly in case in point, 40% was voted on.
That was a constitutional amendment, and I support the party in the way they brought about new changes to the party. The party itself, as a result of this, is a stronger, more democratic party.
So
The fact that there was 20, it was the biggest conference in 24 years, shows that this party is in really good heart.
So it wasn't politics in any way by David Cameron from the support?
From what I saw, and I wasn't in the room, this was a legitimate remit that was put up before the conference and was voted on.
Mr. Shearer, you said you haven't spoken to David Cameron since the caucus, but you did speak to him before to tell him he was demoted. What was his view then about his future?
Oh, that was a private conversation, and I'm not going to go into that.
Or did he accept the reasons you gave him for his demotion?
As I say, it was a private conversation. Thank you very much.
Have you given any undertaking to the caucus in support about healing the wounds, like how you go about that?